Welcome to www.happynumbers.org. Today's lesson is dealing with the topic of ratios and proportions, but today's lesson will deal with ratios. Put an S there. Okay, let me start our timer. Okay, you may want to take some notes here in your notebook. A ratio, we'll take the S out of it. A ratio is a comparison of two numbers. It compares two numbers. Let's take an example. Suppose in class there are 5 women and 4 men. Well, a ratio will compare that relationship. So if we wanted to compare the number of women to the number of men, you write a ratio in one of two ways, like this, 5 with a colon and then 4, and this is read 5 is to 4. 5 is to 4. The colon is to. 5 is to 4. 5 women is to 4 men. Or you may write the ratio like a fraction. 5 is to 4. 5 is to 4. So those are two ways that the ratio is written, and the ratio compares two numbers. Now, a couple of things. When you're writing a ratio, it's always written in its lowest term. So if we had something like 12 is to 3, we would have to reduce that. We could write it like this. 12 is to 3. We would reduce it. 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 12 4 times. And we would write it as 4 is to 1. Or 4 is to 1. So a ratio is always reduced to its lowest name. And the other thing about a ratio is it's okay to have an improper fraction, like 11 is to 6. If we wrote the ratio this way, 11 is to 6, we leave it in this form in the terms of an improper fraction because this is a ratio. Well, let me give you some examples of some problems with ratios, and they are pretty useful. Remember, they compare two numbers, and we can write them like 6 is to 7 or 6 is to 7. Okay? So let me put a couple of ones up here. Let me put these ratios up and have you write them in their lowest name, or reducing them to their lowest terms. And let's have this one. 12 is to 8. All right, so put your DVD on pause and reduce these ratios and make sure they're in their lowest names, and then turn it back on again and we'll take a look at it. Okay, let's start with this one. So we can rewrite this 9 is to 15, same thing, and I can say, well, I know 3 can go into both of these. 3 goes into 9 3 times, 3 goes into 15 5 times. So now I have rewritten 9 is to 15, and I've rewritten it 3 is to 5. It's in its lowest name there. Okay? Let me move this out of the way. And let's look at this one. 15 is to 20. Well, 5 will go into both. 5 will go into 15 3 times. 5 will go into 20 4 times. So I have rewritten this ratio 3 is to 4, and I could have written it 3 is to 4. Same thing. Let's take a look at this one. 3 is to 9. I'm going to come over here and work it. Put 3 is to 9. Okay. Well, I know 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 will go into 9 3 times. So I have renamed the ratio in its lower name. 1 is to 3 or 1 is to 3. Let's take the last one. 12 is to 8. 12 is to 8. Well, I know 4 will go into 12 and 4 will go into 8. 4 goes into 12 3 times, 4 goes into 8 twice. So I have renamed this ratio 3 is to 2. And we can leave it in this form, 3 is to 2. Good. Okay. Just one other thing about ratios. 9 is to 3. Let's put this up. And 20 is to 4. Well, if we were going to rename these, I could write it like this. And 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 3 1 time. Now, normally, I've said to you, okay, well, we don't need the 1 there, so the answer is just 3. But in terms of ratios, we do, because remember, ratios compare two numbers. So this would be 3 is to 1. And you would leave it in the form of an improper fraction. 3 is to 1. Same thing here. 20 is to 4. 20 is to 4. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 4 goes into 4 1 time, but we leave it in that form. So 5 is to 1. Well, good. Let's see how we can use ratios in taking a look at some problems. Let's take a look at this one. I think you'll be able to read that. It says Bill earns $800 salary a month. He pays $200 a month rent. What is the ratio of his rent to his salary? Okay, so now they're asking us the ratio of rent is to salary. So rent is to salary, or rent is to salary. So you have to keep the order that they presented in mind. Well, he pays $200 rent. His salary is $800. We can cross out the zeros, reduce this to its lowest name. 2 goes into 2 1 time, 2 goes into 8 4 times. So the ratio of his rent to his salary is 1 is to 4, or 1 is to 4. Good. Let's take a look at another one. See what we get. In a class with 30 students, there are 18 women and 12 men. What is the ratio of men to women? So we're looking at the ratio of men is to women, or men is to women. There are 12 men, 18 women. So 12 is to 18, and we want to reduce this to its lowest name. 6 will go into both of these numbers. 6 will go into 12 2 times. 6 will go into 18 3 times. So the ratio of men to women is 2 is to 3, or 2 is to 3. Good. We'll take a look at 2 more. A car gets 48 miles to the gallon in the country driving and 32 miles per gallon in the city driving. What is the ratio of country mileage to city mileage? So we want country to city, or country to city. Well, country driving is 48 miles per gallon. City is 32. And now I need to put this in its smaller name. And I know that 16 goes evenly into 32 and into 48. 16 goes into 48 3 times. 16 goes into 32 2 times, because 2 times 16 is 32. So the ratio between country mileage and city mileage is 3 is to 2. Good. Let's take a look at one more. This one has a little trick in it. Let's see if you get it. On an algebra quiz, Jolene got 24 problems correct and 4 incorrect. What is the ratio of correct problems to the total number of problems on the test? Why don't you put your video on pause and see if you can work that one, and then we'll turn it back on again. Okay, let's see. So now we want to know the ratio of correct problems to total problems. Correct is to total, or correct is to total. Well, we know she got 24 problems correct. And she got 4 incorrect. Well, if she got 24 correct and 4 incorrect, the total number of problems will be 24 plus the 4 incorrect, 25, 26, 27, 28. So 24 is to 28. 24 is to 28. And now, let's reduce this to its lowest name, okay? So we can say that 4 goes into 24. We divide by 4 and divide by 4. 4 goes into 24 6 times. 4 goes into 28 7 times. So the relationship of the ratio of correct to total problems is 6 is to 7. Okay, quick review here. Ratios compare two numbers, and we can write them in two ways. We can write it 7 is to 6, or 7 is to 6. The colon means is to, and in this case this line means is to. We always want to make sure that a ratio is in its lowest name, reduced to its lowest terms, and when working with ratios, we can leave the improper fraction the way it is. It's fine to have the improper fraction. The only other thing is, when we're working with ratios and we have, whoops, there's my time. Let me put this on. Okay. When we're working with ratios and we wind up with a whole number, when we rename this, we say 3 can go into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 3 1 time, but we must put the 3 over 1 because it's a ratio, because this is 3 is to 1. Well, good. Well, that's it for ratios. Next lesson we'll work on proportions, which are two ratios, and we'll show you how that works. Thank you very much.